I'm Mr. Beat. In this video, we will go through a couple of examples that illustrate the importance of the theory of consumer choice and how we can use the model of consumer preferences and optimization in real-life settings. In our first example, let's challenge one of the first theorems you learned in market theory, the law of demand. Recall, the law of demand states that as the price increases, the quantity demanded falls, and as the price falls, the quantity demanded rises. In a basic supply and demand diagram, this translates to a negatively sloped demand curve. Could a good exist such that consumers increase the quantity demanded as price rises? Using the theory of consumer choice, we are able to construct and illustrate such a phenomenon. Economists call this type of good a Giffen Good, which is named after Robert Giffen. Let's turn to a graph of consumer choice. Keep in mind that our goal is to show the positive relationship between price and quantity demanded. In this example, we assume the consumer basket contains two goods, A and B. Prior to any price change, the consumer currently has a consumption bundle at point A that corresponds to quantity demanded QA and QB in black, given the budget constraints and the indifference curve I1. Recall that an increase in the price of, say, good B rotates the budget constraint inward for that good. This produces the new orange budget constraint in the graph. If the indifference curve that is tangent to the orange budget constraint corresponds to a QB that is higher than the original QB in black, then we have a Giffen Good. In the graph, this is exactly what we have. Notice a price increase of good B, which leads to the orange budget constraint, also leads to a larger quantity demanded for good B. The second graph provides a breakdown of the substitution and income effects of the price change on the Giffen Good. Notice that the negative income effect is more than the positive substitution effect. Thus, Giffen Goods can be thought of as a highly inferior good. What are the factors behind this kind of consumer behavior? Typically, economists think of Giffen Goods as an inferior good for which the income effect dominates the substitution effect. For the second example, we'll use the theory of consumer choice to examine the consumption-saving decision by households. The consumption-saving decision faced by households is the response to changes in income and interest rates. Since the trade-off is about present consumption and future consumption, the outcome of the consumption-saving decision is intertemporal. This graph shows the consumption-saving trade-off. Prior to any changes to the current system, the current decision is at point A, where the highest indifference curve, I1, is tangent to the budget constraint, BC1. Let's assume that there is an increase in interest rates, holding income constant. A higher interest rate increases future returns, so it is equivalent to a rotation of the budget constraint from BC1 to BC2 in orange. According to the graph, I2 is the highest indifference curve given BC2, and this puts the household at point B. Notice that at point B, future consumption is larger, but present consumption is smaller compared to point A. This is because the substitution effect dominates the income effect for the present consumption, as shown in the second graph. The substitution effect implies future consumption is less costly than present consumption, so the consumer would save more present income for future consumption. On the other hand, the income effect means the household is on a higher indifference curve due to the increase in interest rate. So both future and present consumption could increase with the higher budget constraint. There is a second possibility for the analysis in the graph. Like the previous graph, we begin at point A, budget constraint BC1, and indifference curve I1. With an increase in interest rate, the budget constraint rotates to BC2 in orange. However, suppose the highest indifference curve that is tangent to BC2 is I2, as illustrated in the graph. This results in the consumption bundle at point B. Notice at point B, both future and present consumption are larger compared to point A. This is when the income effect is greater than the substitution effect, which creates an ambiguous effect of an increase in interest rate to the household's consumption saving decision. The second graph breaks down the income and substitution effects for this case. Notice the large income effect on the present consumption overwhelms the substitution effect. To review, we covered two applications of the theory of consumer choice. In the first example of Giffen Good, we show the theory of consumer choice is important in fundamental market analysis. In particular, violation of the law of demand can be shown. In the second example, the effect of an increase in interest rate depends on the location of the higher indifference curve. If you want to explore these topics in more depth, come visit Chegg, where you can see additional topic videos and solve example problems, or you can ask one of Chegg's subject matter experts.